Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind the Country Chic Cottage. This is our second video in the DTF printing series. So if you do not know what DTF printing is, want more information on that, I will link to the first video in the series in the description below this one. So you can head there and learn a little bit more about DTF printing. Now I had the opportunity to go with my friend Corey George from the Hey Let's Make Stuff channel here on YouTube. And we went to Fargo, North Dakota to Heat Transfer Warehouse for an entire week and learned all about DTF printing, how to set up a printer, and how to use it. So this is the next video in this series, and what I'm going to do is cover one DTF printer. So there are several brands on the market, but I'm going to cover the Prestige A4 DTF printer. Now this is the smallest printer that Prestige makes for DTF printing. So it prints about 8 inches wide approximately, but it does print on film that is on a roll, so you can print very long prints. Now I did want to cover this one because it is the least expensive and it would be the smallest size for the average craft room or for someone just starting out with their small business. Now you may watch this entire video and think a DTF printer is not for me, so there is quite a bit of setup steps that we're going to go over as well as maintenance. So if you watch this entire thing and it's not for you, rest assured, you can order your own DTF prints directly from Heat Transfer Warehouse, and you can order just one at a time if you wanted to, just to try out DTF, make sure it's like the one I have on here. So if you wanted to give it a try without getting the printer, you absolutely can. So if you watch this series and think, I would love to try DTF on shirts, however, the printing process is just too much for me, trust me, I understand and I have you covered. Now, speaking of the shirt I have on, the design in my reading era is available for free, and I will link to it in the description below this video, so you can download this file. Whether you use a DTF or a sublimation printer, you can use this file to make several different projects. Now, you might notice that I am wearing a black shirt with this DTF print on it. That is because the first thing you need to know is DTF uses white ink, so you can use it on dark colors as well as any fabric. So cotton poly blends, everything is open with DTF printing, and I will be trying several different things over the course of this series. Now the Prestige A4 DTF printer comes in gray, pink, and mint, which is another reason I like it. I am going to be showing the gray version on the video, but there is a gorgeous pink and mint color, so if you want a DTF printer to match your craft room, they probably have one. Now this is an entry-level DTF printer, which means it is for beginner DTF printers. I also think that the technology is just so new that we're going to see several innovations in the technology over the years. So while this is the only DTF printer I'm reviewing right now, as the technology expands, I may do more in the future. So in this video, we're going to talk about what comes in the box, how you set up the printer, maintenance tasks, and other equipment you might need for DTF printing. Then in a few weeks, I'll have another video, and in that video, I'll cover how to use the printer, how to print to it, and how to press that DTF print. So eventually, you will have all the information you need for DTF printing. So if you've purchased the Prestige A4 printer, this video is for you. If you're thinking about purchasing it and want to see what all is involved in the setup and maintenance, again, this video is perfect for you. And thirdly, if you are just kind of interested in a DTF printer, you're not sure if they're for you or not, you want to see what all the fuss is about, plus what all the maintenance and setup is required if you were to purchase one, this video is also for you. Now, I want to start out by saying that a DTF printer bundle for the Prestige A4 is around $4,000 as of the filming of this video. That includes the printer, the oven with the air filter, ink, powder, and everything you need to get started with DTF printing. So the price is not inexpensive. And I will say $4,000 is like the roundabout regular price. I'm sure there are going to be sales and you might find that same printer for a little less, a little more. I would recommend purchasing from someplace like Heat Transfer Warehouse so you get their customer service. And also the customer service with Prestige is amazing. Another reason I chose their printer to review in this series, their customer service is amazing. You get access to a Slack channel where you can ask your questions directly. When you purchase your printer, you get access to training where you can jump on Zoom calls with them and get training for your specific printer and situation. So I definitely think with this level of printer, so you're going to be spending quite a bit of money, you are going to want that training directly with the manufacturer and be able to ask your questions. So I do think that is another benefit to purchasing from Prestige. So with the printer itself, you'll get the printer, you'll get a user manual, has a couple of like QR codes that you can scan, access to videos and training. There are trainings you can sign up for, join a Zoom call. Again, that Slack channel. You also get cleaning supplies in the box. We're going to run through some maintenance during this video, and you get those first batch of cleaning supplies with the printer. And you also get the DigiRip software. So any DTF printer will use what they call a RIP software. Basically, it translates whatever you want to print into something that will work on your DTF printer. Remember I said that DTF prints with white ink, so the image needs to be translated to use that ink and to print on your printer correctly with the correct colors. RIP software is a way to do that. So I'm going to pause right here and say that the RIP software for the Prestige A4 is currently PC only. There is no Mac version. So you would need a PC to operate this printer. That PC needs to have Windows 10 or 11. And I did also want to note that you need to hook directly to the printer. There is no like Bluetooth or Wi-Fi option with the printer itself. So you would need plenty of space, and I'll probably repeat that several times within this video. The DTF process overall, you're going to need plenty of space in order to accomplish everything you need and have all that equipment out. Now, the $4,000 bundle that I was talking about does not include a shaker. So the DTF process does include some powder. The bundle does include the powder itself, but the bundle is intended for use with a manual application of the powder, just in like some trays. If you want a more automated version of applying the powder, you would need an additional investment into a shaker, which would slightly automate that process. And quite frankly, the DTF process is a bit messy. The powder gets everywhere, but I don't think the manual version or the automatic shaker is going to help you. The powder is a very fine dust. It is still going to get everywhere. So now let's talk about the setup of the Prestige A4 DTF printer. First, when you get it, before you do anything, install that RIP software I was talking about. Registration of your printer will occur during that process. Then you'll run through a few steps. I'm going to walk you through several of those steps, show you on the printer where those things are located. There are setup videos on the Prestige website. You might access those as well, kind of watch both, see which one works for you, and start setting up your printer. First of all, there is a waste bottle that will come with the printer, and it is added to a small bracket on the back of your printer. It has a waste tube, and you will connect that to the waste bottle. Now you put the waste tube in one of the holes of the waste bottle. The other one should not be blocked. So you never want to block it because it is needed for air. Now I did say this was a waste bottle. The disposal of any waste ink does depend on your state, so you would want to check with your state on how to dispose of that. On the back of the printer, there are a set of brackets that you will need to add with screws. This is to hold your film roll. When installing the film roll, the first thing you want to do is find the printable side of the film. Usually it's rolled to the outside and you feed over the top. Generally you can tell because there's a matte side and a shiny side. The matte side is what you print on. You can actually use your fingernail and scratch on the matte side, and you should see a scratch mark on that side. That tells you it's the printable side of the film. So next you have a metal bar and a couple of plastic caps. Those are to add your roll to the printer. The left plastic cap you will not remove. The right you will remove to replace. So go ahead and add one of those plastic caps to your bar. There are screws where you can loosen and tighten and move that across the middle bar. Then add the roll of film, then the right cap. Now remember, when you're tightening these screws, do not get them too tight. You should just tighten them enough where the caps do not move. You can adjust these caps later. So right now I'm just getting the film onto the metal bar. However, I can readjust this later as I feed the film into the machine. To set it up, you will also need to install the front tray and plug it in. Now the front tray is heated, so it does need to be plugged into the printer. The front tray itself has some tabs and they just slide into place on the printer, and then you just plug it in and screw that tight. The last thing you need to do is to install the USB cable and the power cable into the back of the machine. You plug the power cable in, plug it into the wall, and there is an on-off switch on the back of the printer, and then the USB cable plugs into the back as well, and the other end of that will plug into your computer. Finally, to set it up, you will need to add the ink. So you're going to open the ink door. There are two plastic tabs and you just push those in and pull the door to open it. Then you want to add the ink. You want to shake each of the ink bottles. Shake the white longer and shake it first. It needs to sit before being added to the machine. Shake the white for 60 seconds or so, set it to the side. then shake each of the other colors, setting them to the side. Then you're going to pull out the bottles. Don't pull them out too far because you don't want to pull on the tubes that feed the ink through the printer. Then unscrew the cap off each of the bottles, and I do recommend doing these one at a time because you never want to add the wrong color ink to the wrong bottle. Fill each of the bottles with ink. Again, do the white last. Each of the bottles fills in the exact same manner. Now that you have ink in the bottles, you do need to manually pull it through both the ink dampers as well as the waste ink line. We're going to start with the ink dampers. There is a syringe included with the printer. You're going to pull the ink damper out. Keep your fingers on the sides of the ink damper. Never touch the front or the back of the ink damper itself. Put the syringe inside the ink damper and pull about 2 milliliters of ink, and you're going to repeat this for each color or each ink damper. There are 2 dampers for white, so don't get confused here. The ink that you pull through is waste. You can add it to the waste container or dispose of in the manner that is required by your state. Be sure to clean the syringe between colors. You never want to mix the colors on your ink dampers. Finally, use the syringe to pull ink through your waste tube. So pull the waste tube out, add the syringe, and then pull about 4 milliliters of ink through. It may be more difficult to pull ink through the waste tube than it was to pull through the ink dampers. Again, this ink is waste. You can add it to your waste container or dispose of it according to state and local regulations. Before we feed the film through the printer, let's look at the front panel because you will need these buttons to feed the film through. The front panel display will include room temperature, humidity, as well as bed temperature. Remember I said that front plate or the bed is actually heated to help cure your ink, and this is where the temperature of that is displayed. The control panel itself has several buttons. There's a power button to turn the printer on and off. There's an ink button, and if you press this for more than 5 seconds, the printer will do a head cleaning. There's a trash button that will cancel the job. And then there's an enter and exit button that will move your film. The exit button moves the film towards the exit of the printer. The enter button moves the film towards the entrance of the printer. This does take some getting used to. So now we're ready to feed the film through the printer. I will note here that I found that my fingerprints got on the film if I did not wear gloves, so I wore gloves when feeding the film through the printer itself. If you get any fingerprints, just trim the film off straight and start again. You'll start by feeding the film through the slot in the back, and then start feeding the film down. If you're standing in the back of the printer on the left-hand side, you'll see a white tab. Your film needs to line up exactly with that tab, and it does need to be straight. This may take several tries to get correct. Once you have the film against the rollers, press the exit button and allow the printer to feed the film through. Now you will need to adjust the guides on both sides of the bed as well. They are adjustable by screws. You can loosen the screws and adjust them as needed. Press the exit button until the film exits the printer and check to see if it's aligned with those guides. You can move the guides, or you can completely remove the film and start all over again if you think it's not correct. The most critical part is aligning the film with that white tab. It cannot be any further to the left than that tab, so it needs to line up exactly. And if you get it too far to the right, your print will be off the film. So it is critical to get that correct. I also found that if you use the buttons to feed the film through the printer, the enter and exit buttons, first of all, it should move freely through those guides and through the printer. Second of all, you want to check on that roll in the back and make sure it's feeding off straight. If it's not, you can remove the film, adjust the caps on that metal bar, and then feed it through again. The alignment of the film I found the most tricky part of this process. Once I got used to it, it was a little bit easier, but still, once I add the film to this printer and get it correct, I do not want to remove it. So a long roll of film, in my opinion, would be the best. So now you're ready to start using your printer. Now you should turn this printer on and never turn it off. It will do some self-maintenance cycles. Now the button in the back, I found that it always has to be on, and then you'll use that button on the control panel to turn the printer on. Now the printer can go to sleep, so you may notice that front control panel, the light goes out, and that is okay. Just never turn the button off in the back. Then once you have your printer on, you're going to perform a head cleaning first. This will sort of push the ink through the printer. Then you'll run a nozzle check page. You can do both of those operations right in the software. Once you run your nozzle check page, you are going to look at it. Does it have any missing lines or segments? If it does, repeat the process. Perform a head cleaning, print a nozzle check. If you are struggling with this, if you've done that several times, then you may need to go back and use that syringe to pull ink through your dampers as well as ink through your waste tank once again. you might not have got the ink flowing correctly. One other thing I wanted to note here is when that film comes out of that printer with the ink on it, the ink is wet. The bed is heated, so it will cure it a little bit, but it will still smear. You do not want to touch the ink itself. Later on, you'll put the powder on it, you'll put it in a curing oven, and then you could touch the print. But out of the printer, you don't want to touch it at all. So be careful not to touch it during the printing process, number one. Number two, be sure to operate this printer on the edge of the table. That way, as it prints, especially if you're printing a long print, it will just sort of come off the edge of the table. Then the other thing is if you're going to print several things, one right after the other, you can print like a long thing, several different prints on one piece. Then you'll either want to break that up so you can cut the film off, or make sure you're there and when that print hits the floor, be sure that you turn it kind of under so the ink's on the top and so it rolls along the floor. I tried several different methods of like cutting the print off while the printer was operating, and each one of those resulted in a messed up print. So I personally don't recommend that. I do recommend that you let the print finish printing before you cut the print off. And you can cut it off with scissors, or there's a little groove that you can run a razor blade across. I think I would prefer the razor blade method, but if you don't have one, then by all means, scissors is fine. Okay, so that's it for the setup of the printer. And I did mention the other equipment you would need, the powder, the oven. There's not a ton of setup with those. The oven, you would just turn it on, let it heat up. There's a time and temperature on it. And there's a second switch that operates the air filter. That's the only thing really you need to know about the oven itself. And the powder, if you're going to do a manual application of powder, you would need some kind of bin, and you would also want to keep the powder dry. So whether you keep the original bag it comes in with a zip top, you buy some desiccant packets where you throw those in there, absorb some moisture. You might buy a bin that's airtight, and you could keep your powder in it. Again, I would probably throw some desiccant packets inside of those to absorb any moisture. However, once you get your printer set up, that is not the only thing you need to do. So you will need to run daily maintenance. Every morning when you want to use your printer, you will run through that head clean and nozzle check cycle. Now, perhaps one head clean and one nozzle check is all you need, then that's great. If you have issues with your nozzle check, you will need to run through several cycles and perhaps need to pull ink through the dampers or the waste ink line. Then at the end of the day, when you're done using the printer, you need to run through a maintenance cycle to ensure everything is clean and that it will operate the next day. So I'm going to run through that daily maintenance cycle on this video. I do want to note here, however, that there are other maintenance things that you need to do to this printer. There are weekly maintenances, occasional maintenance type of things that you need to do. I am not going to cover the long-term maintenance on these. There are videos on both of those on the Prestige website, and you can check those out there. But for daily maintenance, when you're done at the end of the day, these are the steps you need to take. The printer itself comes with cleaning solution as well as swabs that you can use to clean the printer. The first thing you're going to want to do is to move the printer head. So you sort of lift up and to the left, and then you can move the printer head over. And under that, you'll see, first of all, the wiper. You can place your fingers on the white portion and sort of pull the printer head back. Then use a damp swab that has some cleaning solution on it and just clean that wiper really well. So you just want to clean all the way around the wiper. Use a lint-free cloth, remove that ink from the swab. You may need to clean it a couple of times depending on how much you've used it that day. The final step would be to use a swab that is clean and dry and go over that wiper again. Second, you would want to use a damp swab to clean around the print head. And you're only cleaning around the outside edge of the print head. Again, the same steps would apply. So damp swab first. May have to do that a couple of times depending on how much you've used the printer. Clean that swab off with a lint-free cloth. Dry swab around it as your last step. Then you will add a little bit of cleaning solution to the pad that's in the center. Now you just want to add enough where it sort of fills the little well. It's just a little bit. I like to use a syringe for this. Some people just pour it in. I found that with the syringe I had more control. So I add a little bit of cleaning solution to the syringe and then put a little bit on that pad. Finally, you want to use your hands on the inside of the printer, sort of push the print head back. Then use a damp swab and go into the printer and clean on both sides. Now there is a little silver bar that you'll see when you look in there. You do not want to touch the silver bar. Touching the silver bar with cleaning solution can damage the printer. So we're just kind of cleaning on the sides of those. Again, same process. So clean until there's no ink, dry it off with a lint-free cloth, clean and dry, swab at the end. Then you want to move the print head back over. Remember, the cleaning solution is still in that printer. So we're going to kind of reverse the process, lift and then drag the print head over into location. You can also kind of turn the printer on and off and it'll do this part for you if you're nervous about actually moving the print head with your hands. And then that's it. You would leave the printer to sit. The next morning, like I mentioned, you would repeat the head cleaning first and then print a nozzle check page. Check for any missing segments, repeat if necessary. The general rule is if you've done more than 5 head cleanings and nozzle checks and you don't have a clean pattern, then you need to break out the syringe, start pulling ink through your dampers. Start pulling ink through the dampers of the ones that are missing segments. If, say, your white ink is not missing any segments on the nozzle check, you don't have to pull ink through those dampers necessarily. Just pull ink through the ones that are missing segments and possibly pull some ink from the back as well. So I do have an interest form in the description below this video. If you're interested in DTF printing and want to make sure that you don't miss any of the DTF content that I'm putting out, I would suggest signing up for that email list, and I will put it in the description below this video, along with the link to get this free file, as well as links for the printer that I've talked about in this video. And if you have watched to this point and you're thinking this is way too complicated for me, I do not want this printer, but I love that shirt you have on, Angie. I do have a link where you can order DTF prints. And that way on the video where we talk about actually pressing these DTF prints, you will have prints and you can press along with me. So you can upload any file to the Heat Transfer Warehouse website and they will print them on DTF film. It will come all with the powder and everything attached, fully cured. All that's left to do is press. And trust me when I say that is the easy part. So I will link to how you can do that below as well. So now, what is my opinion of this printer overall? So bottom line, I love the prints that I got and I love the results on the shirt. However, it was a process. The setup is a whole process and it has a very steep learning curve. Number 2 is that the rest of the process, as you will see in my next video, is very messy, and I did not particularly like that messy portion with the powder, the curing, all that kind of stuff. And then if you watched my first video, I do have some safety concerns with the entire process, and I do recommend that you wear proper safety equipment when operating your DTF printer, adding the powder as well as the oven. So while I love the results, for me personally, I would probably just order DTF prints. But it probably depends on where you are. Where are you in your business journey? Are you at a point where you just need to order a few prints to make some shirts, you know, some dark black cotton shirts, and you want to add a gorgeous design on the front? Maybe you need to order 20 prints. The Heat Transfer Warehouse website would probably be a great way to do that. Perhaps you're at a point in your business where you're making hundreds of shirts and you really need to cut costs, and so you do the DTF printing at home. The thing about the DTF printer that I do like is that once you get it set up, it was pretty easy to operate after that, as long as you're performing the maintenance cycles that I talked about. Now the other thing is you can sell finished goods, but you can also sell DTF prints. So this print, I would be able to sell it just like this and ship it to whoever wanted it. So you could have your own service where you printed DTF prints from your studio space or wherever you have your small business set up. While we're talking about where you have your small business set up, I will say that DTF printing, in my opinion, takes up quite a bit of space. So the printer itself is large, the oven is very large, it was actually larger than I expected, and then you don't want to powder your DTF prints near your printer. So you can't just have this all squished together in a small area. So you need to have a place to print, you need to have a separate place to powder, and these prints, like I said, the ink is wet, and even when you put the powder on them before you cure them in the oven, the ink can still smear. So you need to have a place to like set these where they're not going to be bothered or damaged after they come off the printer, after they get powdered, and then finally once you cure them, you can stack them up and it's not a big deal. So I would recommend that the area that you have, consider that as well, because this would take quite a bit of space in order to print DTF prints at any kind of high volume level. Okay, so that's it for this video. Setup and maintenance of the Prestige A4 DTF printer. If you have any questions about this process, please drop down in the comment section, ask away. You can also ask your other DTF questions in the comment section. I'm trying to pull those together and sort of answer them all over this series. If you liked this video, if it helped you either make a decision either way about getting a DTF printer for yourself, give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.